Tuesday, Crane and Company, the greatest sports show phenomenon ever taken over the planet. John,
I agree with you.
Thank you. Transfer portal madness. We're going to get to it. We got a great show for you.
Madness is the word.
Going to talk some of the bowl matchups. Obviously, not just a playoff. There's some good ones, even though with these opt-outs. We'll see who's really playing and how the games are going to go. But let's get into it. Got Senator Ted Cruz joining us, our co-star in Lady Ballers, to talk about his book and the movie that is blowing up. If you haven't seen it, it's on Daily Wire Plus. But more than 1,200 players enter college football's transfer portal on the first day it opens. Bengals backup quarterback Jake Browning shines as Cincinnati beats the Jags in OT on the road. And like I said, our Lady Ballers co-star, Senator Ted Cruz, is going to join us live. I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to Crane and Company. Now, with the new NIL era in college athletics, just like in every other area of life, spending money needs to be done in the smartest way possible, in the most efficient way possible. So if you have this big bag of money that you can spend in any NIL scenario, and I know different schools have a different amount, but if you have a lot, the smartest strategy is to get the proven commodity. Go to the transfer portal. You can turn the tape on and see how that player performs at the level that you're getting them at. When you look around the country, we see 1,200 players enter the transfer portal on the first day. So if I'm going to spend my money, if I'm going to go into the vault and get my treasure, I would much rather know what I am getting through the transfer portal than just spending it all on high school recruits. But the key, just like in other areas of life, is balance. How can you build culture if you don't develop players through the high school ranks? So the answer is, and it's actually pretty simple in my eyes, especially if you're a new coach taking over a new place, yes, you must embrace the transfer portal. Probably heavy early, but once you get the program going, you should only use the transfer portal to fix the holes in the boat, not build the whole ship out of the transfer portal. There needs to be a nice balance between developing high school players, using a decent amount of NIL money to be able to attain a high recruiting class in that form, and then also going out in the transfer portal and being able to spend money wisely on proven commodities. Just look at the NFL. Some GM strategies are to go out and sign more free agents than to rely on just draft picks. You have projections, and then you have proven commodities. That's the difference between free agency and the draft. It's a lot easier and safer to take a proven commodity than to try and project a player out of high school and how they'll do on the high collegiate level or the collegiate level going to the professional level. So when you have an NIL bag, regardless of how deep it is, spending it on a proven commodity is very smart. It's a winning strategy, but it can't be the only strategy. That's why football is the ultimate team sport. I'll bring in my co-host, former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, my brother, former Western State, Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. Guys, we knew the portal was going to be hopping. We're in a brand new era. But when it comes down to building a team or maintaining a team, and it does depend on where you are. Are you Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State in your first year? Or Hugh Freeze this past year, where you do got to go be a little bit heavier in the transfer portal because you need results quick, and then you want to develop high school guys? Then you have some guys like Lane Kiffin, and I know Jackson Dart's coming back, that looks like they're going to try and replenish a lot of the roster through the transfer portal. Which strategy is smarter in your opinion?
Well, honestly, I feel bad for a lot of these coaches having to navigate all these changes that are happening so rapidly in college football. I really do. I think the NCAA has just turned on a faucet to let this thing go off the rails as badly as possible until Congress act. I just wish, we could get a sitting senator or something to come on our show so we could ask him questions about it. Oh, wait, that's going to happen today. So I'm excited about it. I mean, here's some numbers for you. 133 FBS teams. There's 85 scholarship available on those teams. So that's 11,305 spots. And we saw 1,200 kids, 1,183 specifically right now, enter the portal by 10 p.m. on the first day. I mean, that's almost 11% of college football. So
That's
yesterday
wild.
I said, like, college football is a broken and an unserious sport. I mean, this is another aspect of that. I hate it. I hate it for a lot of these kids who just see the first opportunity to run away and quit. I hate it for a lot of these coaches who are having to navigate this landscape. It's unfortunate. I probably would have run away from Michigan and run back to South Georgia the first opportunity if I had to quit. I mean, even then it was like, you know, okay, my coach can leave and go anywhere he wants and make money, but I can't transfer in a dire situation. That felt like exploitation. This right here, this has just gone off the rails to me. I mean, when you look at the number of quarterbacks that we're going to mention here, it's just kind of like they're just switching schools. They'll play for 4 or 5 different colleges in the span of 4 or 5 years. Like, even in the NFL, we at least have contracts. We have to get to something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's unrestricted free agency, if we're going to be honest. I mean, there's a reason that you don't just sign a 1-year contract in the NFL and then everybody just goes back into the pot at the end of the year. It's madness and chaos. Blaine, the thing that I thought would be the easy guardrails to put on it, and they put no guardrails on it, you know, just like with NIL, which I believe in. I believe players should get name, image, and likeness. I mean, if I'm going to get paid for my name, image, and likeness, like, I don't know, on a movie, then I can't sit here and complain. But what I don't understand is, and you have the one free transfer, you know, the 1 year where you can transfer for free, whatever. I don't have a problem if you want to use that year to go from LSU to Utah. If you want to go from Boise State to TCU, right? I don't mind that. But when you're able to go from LSU to Alabama or transfer not only within a conference, and I know we're going away from divisions, but within a division, that's a problem to me outside of the head coach leaving. Whether he's fired, whether he takes another job, whether he goes to the NFL, takes another college job, it doesn't matter. There's no rules built in. But if you're building a team, let's say you're in year 3.
Oh, I
right?
love this.
And you're humming.
Online dynasty mode.
Online dynasty mode.
Okay.
How much are you relying with your NIL money, right? Give me a percentage, 60-40, 70-30. How much are you relying on going to get players from the transfer portal to spend that money and then going to get players from high school spending that NIL money? Because you got to spend money in both.
It feels like a 70-30 to me. I'm going to be
Portal to
high school.
That makes sense.
You know, if it's me, I'm living in the portal to go get guys up front. All right, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to get depth up front on both sides of the ball. Well, look, you need your quarterback. At the end of the day, you can have all the skill players in the world. If you don't have anybody to get him the ball, you know, we see that with Florida State. You see what kind of happened in that result. But I look at it, obviously the transfer portal, it needs to be refined a little bit, touched a little bit. It needs to be hauled in. Obviously, it's a problem, but it doesn't need to be eliminated. I mean, right now, we're talking about it. I mean, when's the last time we realistically had 7 teams that are good enough to play for a national championship? I think the transfer portal has done a lot for parity in college football. It brought those lower class to the middle class.
It raised
class
floors
up a little bit, right? We're seeing teams like Arizona and Missouri and all these guys kind of rise to the occasion. So the transfer portal, it's crazy. It's changing everything. But right now, the result is on the field is great.
Yeah, and we're going to open up the phone lines early today. We're going to open them up here literally in about 20 minutes. We're going to make sure we get some calls before we get Ted Cruz on here. But I do want to say I'm not advocating that you literally only sign a certain position from the transfer portal when you get where you need to be. I'm operating from a year 3. We're doing really well, got my culture built in, and we don't have to rely on just the transfer portal. I don't care if I need to go get a left tackle from the portal, I'll go get a left tackle. But I'm not going to sit here and say I want to build my whole offensive line or defensive line out of the transfer portal. I am going to plug the holes that whoever left from this year's roster, whether it be going to the NFL draft, whether it be transferring, whether it be, you know, their eligibility's done. If it's a corner, I'm going to go get a corner. That's what we see the best teams do. They're not going out there and just getting 5 defensive linemen. The only people you see doing that are the new coaches that are trying to flip a roster, because now you're expected to win with the transfer portal even sooner. That's what I kept saying about Deion Sanders, why every coach in the world, when Deion Sanders was humming early, when he flipped the whole team to the transfer portal, was kind of a little bit pissed off, because now the expectation is, oh, you can turn it around in year 1. Regardless, just bring in a bunch of guys from the transfer portal, put them together, and you can be like Colorado and just start beating everybody. And then what happened? It kind of fell off a cliff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's not a winning strategy. But it was put out there and shown to athletic directors that if you go and build the whole team out of the transfer portal, it's a possibility for you to win, even though in reality, Colorado won 4 games, which was a nice feat for them. But I just strategically, to me, I think the best situation is you build the boat out of the high school talent that is developed, and you plug the holes in it with guys from the transfer portal. That's what Alabama's done. That's what the top dogs have done. But some of these guys, David, as we kind of transition into, you know, who's in the portal, Kyle McCord?
Yeah, I got a list right here, and I think back on Joe Burrow a lot because Joe Burrow is a 4th-string quarterback in Columbus. He needs to find a school. He has the talent to play high-level college football. He goes to LSU, wins a Heisman Trophy, has an undefeated season, right? Like that's an incredible situation. Or what happened with Cam Newton? You get in trouble at a school, you go to JUCO, goes and plays for Auburn, wins a Heisman Trophy, goes undefeated. Even Sam Hartman, out of place for 4 years, ends up going to Notre Dame. Like those are all really great examples of being able to leave a situation and go play. And we see that in the NFL too, right? Like sometimes it doesn't work out with the team that drafted you and you move along. I think we're going to start to see things get a little out of hand here if we just have open season with the transfer portal writ large. But here's the names that I have right now. You mentioned a couple, and honestly, some more may have jumped in by the time we started our show today. But Kyle McCord, Riley Leonard, who's taking an official visit to Notre Dame this week, KJ Jefferson, Will Howard, Dylan Gabriel, Tyler Van Dyke, Will Rogers, Dante Moore, DJ Uiagalelei, Aiden Chillis, Brock Vandergrift, Tyler So, MJ Morris, Grayson McCall, Cam Ward. Max Johnson has officially recommitted now to North Carolina. So Max Johnson from Texas A&M, who had already transferred from LSU, is going to North Carolina. And then a really unusual one here, Tyler Buckner, who played quarterback at Notre Dame, transferred to Alabama, has now entered the lacrosse transfer portal, and he's going to play lacrosse now back for Notre Dame.
So let me ask you a better question.
I couldn't write a Hollywood script.
Let me maybe ask you an easier question. Which quarterbacks are not in the transfer portal?
That you could almost make a list of Power 5 teams. It would be easier because if you add in the transfer portal with guys who have just lost eligibility, which I think you could play as long as you want now, but seniors who are leaving, the list would almost be shorter to name guys who aren't in the portal.
Who's the best quarterback you think on that list? Who
I've been trying to think
if you're drafting? Who would you take number 2?
Look, I think what Cam Ward proved that he could do this year at Washington State, just with his mobility and not only with his legs, but his ability to throw the ball through the air. Like, he's going to be a dynamic football player that a lot of guys are going to go after. I still really like Riley Leonard coming from Duke, and that's a situation where the head coach you're playing for left to go to Texas A&M, right? Like, I understand that situation. But the Kyle McCord one right now,
dude,
for me, like, I really don't know. I really don't know what's going on right now with the Buckeyes and with this situation. What did he throw? Over 3,000 yards, over 30 touchdowns, like stats that I would have done ungodly things to have when I was playing football. He loses one game as a starter by 3 points on the road to your arch rival team that's ranked number 3. To me, you're not leaving as the starting quarterback in Columbus unless the coaching staff has told you you're not. You don't have a future here.
One of two things. There's only one of two things that happened in this situation. Because like you said, the man went 11-1. Now, did they have to protect him a little bit? Right? Did he turn the ball over in some inopportune times? Yes, but he's a young quarterback. So there's no great. You better go undefeated. You better be perfect. You better be perfect or you're getting replaced. One of two things happens. One, that staff after the Michigan game told him, "Hey, you may need to get in the portal. We're going to go get we're going to go get a transfer quarterback. That's what we're going to go do." Or they said, "Hey, are you willing to compete if we bring in another quarterback?" And he said, "No, I'll just get in the portal." The man got in the portal at 6 a.m.
Well, if it's the second one, when are you not competing?
Yeah,
you don't have to compete, man, especially at a school like that.
Well, true, but I don't want to put all the blame on the coaching staff because I don't know, I wasn't in the room.
Well, he's not the only one with the Buckeyes right now. Julian Fleming.
Fleming left.
Yep.
Yeah.
Julian Fleming's in the transfer portal right now. He made huge catches the past couple seasons. I get like you get overshadowed a little bit with a generational guy like Marvin Harrison Jr. or Chris Olave or Garrett Wilson, but he was a key receiver on that team. Now he's entered the portal. I just wonder if there's something going on with Ryan Day. There have been some reports that he has expressed interest with some NFL teams. That's what I've heard. I don't know. Maybe some of these guys.
I know Ryan Day in that press conference came out and was non-committal about Kyle McCord being the starting quarterback even in the bowl game. He said, we have to look at everything, even with the one loss, what let us down in that game, even that last drive. So all options are open. So I think that is what got to Kyle, even after the performance he did put up this year. Imagine the performance he put up this year, and then you get to a bowl game, and your head coach being, "Well, we're non-committal on our which quarterback we're going to start."
Well, in your first year starting, you go 11-1, and you put up those numbers. I know, again, you talk about the supporting cast. I just think Ohio State's just searching right now. I think they're in kind of they're in a space they haven't been. I mean, losing 3 in a row to Michigan, right? Michigan winning the Big Ten 3 years in a row. These are the dark times for Ohio State. But what an unbelievably high-class problem that your dark times are when you're 11.
A couple other things here. Like when you talk about someone like Brock Vandergriff, who didn't win the starting job at Georgia. It makes sense, right? You entered the transfer portal. That makes sense. Grayson McCall, coming from Coastal Carolina and had some injuries, like that makes a lot of sense. Even to an extent, Tyler Van Dyke at Miami, you gave it a try a couple seasons. It hasn't been great. Like maybe a fresh start is what's necessary. Or Will Rogers. Almost broke the SEC passing record.
KJ Jefferson, been at Arkansas forever. You paid your dues
But
there.
there's a couple where I look at something like Dylan Gabriel, where you came from USC, you're going to Oklahoma, you have an unbelievable year. I understand the offensive coordinator left, but like you're just going to jump ship immediately to where? A lot of these guys are just going to be switching.
Mississippi State right now, leading for them is Mississippi State. He's following Levy.
Yeah, well, the two that surprised me the most are two that may end up following their coaches. Dylan Gabriel going to Mississippi, or looking at Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby, and then DJU. I mean, obviously Jonathan Smith goes to Michigan State. Does DJU end up at Michigan State?
Well, the backup left too, right? Because Aiden Childs is the leader on some lists as the best quarterback in the transfer portal. A lot of people have. Like, obviously, that would just be based off potential because we haven't seen a large sample.
Yeah, it's again, you're always going to have some surprise. I mean, Will Howard, right? Will Howard is in the transfer portal from Kansas State. I was interested to see Max go to North Carolina. That fit was interesting to me. You know, he was at LSU, then he goes to A&M, then he goes to North Carolina. But we're going to keep tracking it. It's just, I am fascinated to see the strategies of some coaches once they get 3 years in. I know what you're going to do the first couple years, as I've said. You know, whether you're Hugh Freeze at Auburn or now Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State or Mike Elko at A&M, you're going to have to lean on the transfer portal to give that beacon of hope to the fan base and be able to compete early with the arms race that college football is now. What I'm interested in is year 3, when you've got the high school guys that are developed. How do you, number one, spend your NIL money, and how do you, number 2, structure your roster? Are you going to try and be 50-50? As much as that's possible? Or are you going to be heavy in high school and plug the holes in the boat like what I would do with the transfer portal, or lean heavily on the transfer portal, almost go the college basketball route and just, redo the roster? Because don't forget, the NCAA changed the rule from you can only sign 25 scholarship players per class, regardless whether that be transfer, whether that be high school, to you got 85 scholarships.
Fill them how you
want to, and they had to.
Yeah.
With the amount of players that were getting in the portal, you had to change that rule. So I don't want people to forget that rule. You can bring in 85 new ones. You can totally bring in 85 new ones. But speaking about bringing in new stuff, all right, you want a free ham? Yeah, you probably do, because you're smart. And our friends over at Good Ranchers have got an incredible deal for you. But they don't just have free hams. They have the best seafood. They have the best steak. They have the best chicken. They have the best pork. They have the best everything when it comes down to American-sourced meat. And like I said, if you head on over to goodranchers.com and you subscribe today with our code BOOSTER, and I'm going to say this again, head over to goodranchers.com and subscribe with our code BOOSTER, B-O-O-S-T-E-R, you get a free limited stock holiday ham before they sell out. But you're going to need to act fast because this offer won't last forever, and you need to order before December 11th, running out of time, for a guaranteed delivery by Christmas. Head to goodranchers.com. Use our code BOOSTER, B-O-O-S-T-E-R, when you subscribe to get your free 10-pound holiday ham. Don't settle for the same old holiday fare. Elevate your feast with Good Ranchers this year. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered. Fantastic product. You better get on it if you want to get one of those hams. GoodRanchers.com. Use that promo code BOOSTER. And go buy one of our hoodies.
Yes,
we're going to put the link in the chat. Hit that like button, right? Make sure you're subscribed and go get one of those hoodies. You want to support the show? That's one of the best ways to do it. We really appreciate it. Rock that thing. Send us a pic, right? We want to see how you're living your life. All right? We enjoy things like that. But speaking about enjoying things, I enjoy the Booster Club.
Chat!
Yep. And also, phone lines are opening up. 10 minutes, boys. Get them hot.
All right, let's go, chat. Let's go. Let's have a big day today. Big day for the fam. Pineapple Express. God, one of my favorite movies.
Great movie.
Nobody bats an eye when a coach leaves for a better opportunity. But a minute a player does, it's a bad thing for the sport.
No.
I disagree.
No. I disagree. We're past that point of, coaches can do this, but players can't. Hell, players can get paid NIL and then leave. Like, the players got the best deal out of all of it. Nobody's saying that players should be held in in lockdown or at Guantanamo or in Azkaban. What we're saying is there needs to be some rules put in the transfer portal. You get your one free year to transfer. In my opinion, I think that's perfect. In my opinion, my belief is the in-conference transferring needs to be limited outside of, hey, your head coach is gone, then you can go. I'm fine with that. If you have transferred once and the head coach leaves, I feel like you should be granted another transfer. I'm fine with that. I'm not saying it needs to be locked down, right? I'm not saying it needs to be like prison break to get out of there. What I'm saying is there at least needs to be a couple rules, right?
Right.
Like, I mean, or we're just everybody's just going to leave every single year.
Yeah,
it's an impossibility.
Completely new then. Like, what good does that do for the sport? I don't understand. Like, what professional league would you ever see that in?
You wouldn't. It's the reason the NFL doesn't do it. Like, it's madness. So it's not the woe is me stuff for the players got to stop. Like, wanted part of the business, you're in the business, you're getting paid now. The woe is me stuff for the players got to stop.
Something they need to keep in mind is so that's 11% of college football players in the portal now. No one talks about the percentage that will not re-sign with the team.
Yeah.
No one will take them now. You had an opportunity at a school, you left, you're not going to get picked up.
All right, let's go to Keats. What's up, brother? He says the portal is keeping teams from sacking talent. It's good for parity, but there needs to be a salary cap established.
If we talk about salary cap, if you're talking about like a deal, like where you can cap a deal, an NIL deal, whether that be from a collective, whether that be from just, one source that's, Dr. Pepper, whatever. I'm fine with that. My only problem is, from a capitalistic standpoint, when do you say when? Do you say it's the value of a scholarship, or is it, I don't know. I would have to see the fine print on that. I understand what you're saying, but you're never going to be on an even playing field when it comes to NIL, right? Boise State is never going to have the same amount of money that Texas A&M is to be able to spend on recruiting, whether that be from the transfer portal or high school.
I was going to Virtue 44 with a $5 donation. Thank you. We're missing a third leg of NIL money, and that is retaining the players that you have.
Yeah.
Illinois uses 80 to 90% of their total NIL money on retention.
Yeah, well, again, that's why if it was me and I was doing any NIL deal, right, and you have to have some cachet to be able to do this. Somebody's got to kind of break the dam on this. Somebody may already have, and I haven't seen it, but I haven't heard about it, is that if you're going to do an NIL deal with me, let's just say I'm Tennessee, and I'm signing you out of high school or I'm signing you out of a transfer portal and you have multiple years of eligibility, if you're going to get this NIL money, you're going to sign that contract that says I will be here at least 2 years. Or I will be here at least a certain amount of time. And if you decide that you want to leave before that, then you have to repay the NIL money that was given to you. I don't think that's a crazy thing to ask, right? I'm shocked we haven't heard more about situations like that. And I know you can't do that if every place can't do that yet because you're trying to attract players in. But once you get rolling, like I think this is something that we're going to see. That's what I would do.
Or a situation like right now with Caleb Williams opting out of the bowl game.
Yeah.
USC.
Now, well, apparently they wouldn't give him partial ownership of the bowl game.
Yeah, the bowl didn't give him partial ownership. That's tough. Yeah. I know.
God,
and it may be not that big of a deal to some people because they're 7-5, but that's USC's opportunity to get to an 8th win to win a bowl game. You paid him a lot of NIL money to come to USC. Shouldn't he have to play in the games that you're eligible to play?
Well, if it's attached to the contract, yes. I will say though, I'm not as big on. I understand why I understand why he's not playing the bowl game. But like, if it was me, if that was my son, I would tell him not to play in the bowl game.
That's what I'm talking about. That's why you got to have a contract that
agree.
says we've already paid you. I don't care who else.
I'm with you on that.
The NFL can pay you next year. We already paid you.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about. It's not a serious sport. It's broken, man. Mm-hmm. It's broken. We have to get some leadership in here to fix these things that really shouldn't be that difficult to at least put guardrails on.
It's just weird to think about negotiating with your players about like the contract of like them playing. It's just in college football.
Yeah,
that's where we're at now.
You have no leverage.
Let's go to Helmison. What's up, brother? Hashtag Ask Cranico. Is Dabo still stubborn enough to not pay these kids, or is that media still just jaw jabbing?
Look, it's moral Dabo versus competitive Dabo. Which one's gonna win? I think I know. I think competitive Dabo. By the way, I want to give a shout out to him. He hired Matt Luke, offensive line coach. Coach Rumpf as well. It's a really good. Glad to see Coach Luke back in it. Got out of it after Georgia won. Wanted to spend some time with his family. Do you want to get to a couple of those donations from yesterday?
I'd have to scroll through and find them. I'm not doing it right now at the beginning of the show.
Oh, okay. All right, let's go ahead and get into rapid fire here.
All right, let's get to rapid fire. Had an interesting NFL game yesterday. Bengals beat the Jags 34-31 in overtime. Jake Browning, undrafted. He became the first undrafted player in the common era to throw for more than 350 passing yards and complete 85% of his throws. The dude was on fire, man.
I was shocked watching him last night. Not that he's an NFL quarterback. Guys get hot, they get hot. But I mean, he was making some throws. You're like, okay, like
do this.
Maybe you got a little bit more juice to you than what I thought. Well, we'll have to see if he can, repeat performances like that before you go ahead and take that next step. How about the Jags? Give up 34?
34, yeah.
34 at home to the backup quarterback? Right? Blaine, what happened?
Nothing great happened, to be honest.
Damn.
What happened to your Jamar Chase?
What do you think happened, Dave? You want to pull up the stats?
I'm looking it up now.
Oh, no.
149 on 11 catches and a touchdown.
Look, I knew it was over on the first drive. He caught 5 passes.
On the first drive?
He caught 5 passes for 10 yards.
All right, hold on. I have to look up for our boy Brad. Our boy Brad needed the Joe Mixon anytime touchdown, which he got. He scored 2. And then he needed the Calvin Ridley anytime touchdown.
Calvin didn't score.
He's going to win 1,600.
Oh, Brad, it sucks, doesn't it? I'm so sorry, Brad. Dead to me, boy.
So
Brad.
Trevor Lawrence got hurt in this game.
Yeah.
Right, what was it, an ankle?
It was an ankle.
Rolled his ankle?
Yeah.
What's the status there?
Nothing too serious. He's probably going to be out at least a week. I would think a week or maybe 2. But nothing. We're not talking anything Jordan Travis.
Do we trust the Jags, though?
No.
Let's be honest.
Since he rushed for 156.
Yeah, just had their way with him.
Like, do you trust a guy that cut his own son? I don't know. I don't
know that I kind of that you care that much about the team.
No, I don't know. Not if you're his son.
Look, you go home and you enjoy the house that your rich ass dad's buying for everybody.
I don't know, man.
Jake Browning, 32 of 37, 354 through the air.
He was locked in.
No picks.
Yeah, remember Jake was a dog at Washington.
Yeah, he was a good player.
He was really good. Over 3,000 yards passing. I'm pretty sure he had 20 touchdowns or something through there.
Was he the quarterback when they played Bama in the playoff? Or was that
possibly? Didn't he lead them to the playoff that year?
Yeah,
I don't remember Jake Browning getting killed though. I remember Jake Browning getting killed.
I think I remember. I think I remember him getting killed.
Hey, every dog has his day.
No, I think Washington scored first. I think Washington went down and scored first against Bama and then got wiped.
Nick Saban wanted to feel something.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
All right, we're going to break down the Heisman list tomorrow, do a big thing on the Heisman, but I at least wanted to say who the finalists are.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels, LSU, Bo Nix, Oregon, Michael Penix Jr., Washington, and Marvin Harrison Jr. with the Buckeyes.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Marvin Harrison Jr., that was the one I was a little bit, should Jalen Milroe have gone? Like, I think you can make an argument there. I mean, Marvin's an unbelievable player. Nobody's questioning that. He's going to be the first receiver taken. But just quick little preview, Jaden Daniels, Heisman. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been screaming this for months. Like, it's congrats, you got invited. Jaden Daniels is going to win the Heisman.
Yeah, we'll do a big breakdown tomorrow. All right, I want to talk about some of these bowl matchups.
Can I say this, though?
Yeah.
Well, how can Jordan Travis not win it? He's apparently the most important player to a team in the history of the world.
That's a really good point.
Why would you just not give it to Jordan Travis? He's so good, you kept Florida State out of the playoff.
Would that be some sort of consolation for Florida State?
Hell no.
Give him the
I'm sure Jordan Travis would get that thing and melt it down for a chance to be able to play in the playoff. But why would you not give it to him?
I heard Florida State came out yesterday and said Jordan Travis is week to week, probably get back for the bowl game.
Yeah, rumor has it that leg healed really quick.
Yeah, I bet.
Insane, man. All right, let's talk about some of these bowl matchups. Again, we're going to do a huge bowl preview tomorrow, break down a lot of these, but I at least want to start with a couple. We got the ReliaQuest Bowl here. It's the January 1st Bowl, LSU versus Wisconsin.
The what?
The ReliaQuest.
ReliaQuest.
Formerly, I believe, the Outback Bowl, but that was, that's out there.
The ReliaQuest Bowl.
LSU versus Wisconsin. Again, as we sit here right now on December 5th, I have no idea if who we're talking about, Jaden Daniels, is going to play. I don't know. Half the players on these teams may be in the transfer portal. But LSU versus Wisconsin, interesting matchup right now.
Weird. I feel like these teams had two totally different years. LSU went 9-3. Wisconsin went 7-5. It's just I get the tie-ins, right, from the SEC and the Big Ten, and which I hate. I feel like we should have a bowl system where the bowls pick who they want. Regionally, if you want somebody closer, you can get them. That's great. But I feel like the Bulls should just be able to pick. I hate the tie-ins. Mm-hmm. I absolutely hate it. I can't stand it. Because I'm so sick of watching Auburn play Northwestern. Or it's just... Anyways. Jaden Daniels isn't going to play. We don't know. But I think the bigger question is with LSU, as big as a question as Jaden Daniels is, the Heisman winner, they have a backup quarterback in Nussmeier that I think can lead them to score more points than Wisconsin scored the whole year. I don't trust Wisconsin to score. Even against LSU's very porous defense. Is Braylon Allen going to play? Haven't seen that. But if you're an LSU fan, the question more is about the skill position on the outside to me. Is Brian Thomas Jr. going to play? Is Malik Neighbors going to play?
Yeah.
Right? Is Mason Taylor going to play? So that's what I got to wait and see. Off the cuff, I feel like LSU, even if Jaden doesn't play, right, even if they're operating at 70%, still scores enough points against Wisconsin to be able to win that game. Now, if you're Luke Fickell, it would be a nice little momentum boost to beat LSU, get some momentum, finish 8-5, going into your second year Wisconsin, because we're going to talk about this later in the week when we look back and review our predictions. Wisconsin was a big letdown for me in year one. Big letdown for me, Luke. Tanner Mordecai, big letdown in year one. I thought they were going to win the Big Ten West. The weak, puny, just mid Big Ten West, and they weren't able to do it.
I mean, Blaine.
Yes.
LSU's defense was sort of historically bad for the season, but is there any, what can Wisconsin do to even score on them?
Well, you have to be Wisconsin. They have to control the line of scrimmage. You need to play a game. We talk about this all the time.
Keep away.
Keep away. That's what you need. You need to sit in 3rd and 1s, 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s. You need to go for every 4th and 1 you get. Because if Jay Daniel played, I do not want this man to have the ball. There's not a guy on that defense. There's not a guy on that team. There's not a person in that stadium that's going to be able to tackle Jay Daniels in the open field for Wisconsin. I think LSU rolls Wisconsin. Because Wisconsin's not the type of team to do what? They're not built to what?
Come back,
right? If anything, Wisconsin, you're going to come out and throw a haymaker early, right, to let them know if you get down 10, down 14 against LSU, bye-bye.
They run away.
Bye-bye. It's over with. You're not built to come back like that. So
we have a spread on that game?
I can find it. I like LSU in this game a lot.
I would guess, if I had to guess the
10.5, right?
I was going to say 10.
It's 10 right now on DraftKings, over under 55.
Yeah, I love LSU in this game. If you're Jane Daniels, I'm playing, right? I think Brian Thomas Jr., or Malik Neighbors, both of them have records on the line to break in this game. So I wouldn't be surprised if all three of those guys play.
Here's what I will tell you. If everybody plays for LSU, I don't care what the TTP is for LSU.
Take it.
I'm taking it. Because you think they put on a show during the regular season? They want to go out with a bang. Right? They want to, and I got to see when the Heisman announcement is compared to, when the bowl game's played, obviously. If it's the Outback Bowl, it's typically played on January 1st, right? When is the Heisman announcement?
This is January 1st. I think the Heisman's coming up this weekend.
This weekend, right?
Now, why am I not watching LSU play Notre Dame? Why am I not watching that bowl game? Why am I not?
That'd be a great game.
The perfect setup.
Oh, yeah, with Brian Kelly?
Old school, Sam Hartman.
Well, you want to know why?
Daniels.
That tie-in, that's not how it works.
That's stupid.
But Jane Daniels will win the Heisman, and then if he plays, I just wonder where Jane Daniels gets drafted.
Heisman is this weekend, December 9th.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, next one, January 1st bowl game. We got a New Year's 6 here, the Fiesta Bowl. Oregon playing Liberty. Now, Liberty gets in as that automatic qualifier from the group of 5. How excited are you to see Oregon play Liberty?
I'm excited to take all my money and put it on the over. Because Bo Nix is playing.
Which right now is 64.5.
Oh, yes.
And the spread is Oregon minus 15.5.
I will take the over in this game. Liberty, I think, can score. With Caden Salter and what they do offensively, I love the system that Chadwell runs. Salter's kind of the perfect fit for it. But Oregon, with Bo Nix playing, as pissed off as they're going to be, they're not in the playoff, they may score 70. They legit may score 70. Dan may score 70. I'm just telling you right now, ride with me on these bowls, on the bets. Just hop in the car and ride with Chup Boy.
Well, look, anyone that comes down to games like this, if against a group of 5 school, it comes down to up front. Can they hang around for 4 quarters against Oregon up front? Because I don't know if they've seen, especially Oregon after coming off this loss, depending on who plays, if everybody's out there, they're going to be, 1, pissed off. 2, Bo Nix is going to be furious because actually he's going to be after he doesn't win the Heisman and he has to prove something even more. I like Oregon in this game. I like Oregon to cover. I think Dan Laney's going to have this team ready, ferocious. Every monster has their nightmare, right? And I think Liberty's kind of having nightmares about Oregon Ducks right now.
All right, on to the Citrus Bowl, Iowa versus Tennessee. This is minus 7.5 Tennessee and over under 36.5.
Can Tennessee score 37 in Iowa? Nope. Under. Here's what, I mean, we know what's going to happen. We know Iowa's not going to score a lot. Tennessee will probably score just enough. Here's the question. Is Joe Milton starting the bowl game? Is that me? Are you going to throw Nico out? If it's me, I'm throwing Nico out there.
Well, Nico should have been playing halfway through the season.
Yeah, people are like, oh, it's senior day. You should play Joe. Man, screw that. What do you mean? What do you mean, senior day? We got to get ready to go try and get back to where we were the year before. Put Nico in. Let him get some great bowl practice experience as the one, right? Then you let him go play against a good Iowa defense, a really good Iowa defense. Get him some experience there. It's the Nico project from here on out if it's me in Tennessee. If I'm Josh Heupel in Tennessee. The over-under 36, and you said Tennessee 7.5?
Mm-hmm.
Over-under 36.5?
Yep.
This one just smells like 24-10 Tennessee. That's what it smells like to me.
So you think they could score 10 on Tennessee?
I think they'll get it. Joe Milton, though. If Joe Milton plays, pick 6.
Possibly. Yeah, I just don't see Iowa being able to score. But that defense is incrable.
For sure.
I can't say enough good things about Iowa's defense. I'm hitting the under on this all day.
I mean, yeah, it just sucks, man, because it's kind of like the reverse of LSU. You know, LSU's offense is so fantastic and their defense is so trash, and Iowa's defense is so good and their offense is inept.
Well, what's a better? Isn't Iowa just a little bit worse Penn State this year?
Significantly worse. I mean, Penn State beat them 31-0.
Yeah,
but I mean, like team-wise, I mean, offensively,
like
Penn State
went 10-2 in the East. Iowa went 10-2 in the West.
But Penn State would they would actually score points against lesser teams. Like Iowa will not score points against lesser teams. They still have to win 14-10, 17-10.
Score enough.
Yeah, I hit like 7 weeks of the under in a row. Should have taken it against Michigan because it would have hit.
David, you basically like had the Big Ten East perfect.
I
forget you on Thursday.
There's one conference I can get.
The phone lines are open. We're going to get to those in 1 second. We know you're going to be watching all the college football madness. You're going to be watching the NFL. You're going to be watching college basketball. And we know sometimes when you're out with the boys, out with the girls, watching the game. I don't really know if that's a thing in a lot of places, but it's in some places. There's some not so fun mornings when you have to get up to work for the next day. All right, you like to have a couple cold sodas. All right, we all do. That's where Z-Biotics comes in. Science's greatest invention ever of all time. All right, it's a pre-alcohol probiotic. Here's what it is: you take this before you drink. All right, you drink this before you drink alcohol, and we want you to drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep. But if you drink Z-Biotics before you go out and drink alcohol, it's basically magic. I don't know another way to put it. Let's just say you're not going to feel as bad. Y'all know what I'm talking about the next day. All right. Z-Biotics produces an enzyme to break down the byproduct, all right, that gives you that bad feeling. Because it's that byproduct, not dehydration. I was wrong. I thought it was caused from dehydration. But guess what? Z-Biotics, it's the ultimate source of making you feel better the next day after having a really good time the night before. Just remember to drink it before you drink alcohol and drink responsibly. Again, we've used it every time. Go over to Cones, right? If we may, sip a little bit of the
cold soda,
the cold sodas, maybe some brown water. Drink that. That stuff is absolutely magic. So go to zbiotics.com/booster. That's zbiotics.com/booster. To get 15% off your first order with code BOOSTER at checkout. It's backed by a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, which you won't be, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. zbiotics.com/booster. Use that code BOOSTER at checkout for 15% off your first order. All right. Got the phone lines open. PJ, how you feeling back there?
Feeling really good, thank you.
Good, great. How's the chat over there, Blaine?
Good. You want some or what?
Let's go one there, and then we'll get to a phone call.
Let's go to Ryan with the $5 donation. Ryan, appreciate it, brother. If viewer stays at Texas, do you see Arch Manning, a.k.a. the chosen one, hitting the portal? If so, where would he go? I don't see him sitting on the bench another season.
Well, we've gone back and forth with this. I'd be interested to see what Malik Murphy does, too, the backup quarterback at Texas who played some this year, who I thought, he almost made some catastrophic mistakes, but he got him through Kansas State, right? Got him through where he had to get him through. With the Mannings, I just think they're a little bit of a different flavor than what we're used to seeing with like high-profile players now. I think they're more patient than other people are. I am actually leaning toward thinking Arch stays because I don't think he fits Jeff Lebby's system. Dylan Gabriel does because he can run. You can get him on the run. You can create. You can do things like that in that up-tempo system. I think Arch Manning is much more of a Steve Sarkisian style of quarterback. I think he is a more pro style. We're going to give you a lot of formations, give you a lot of motions, right? We're going to mess with our splits. We're going to use every inch of the field. I think he fits that better. I think Arch actually stays, David.
I think so, too.
All right, let's go to Peyton 25 with a donation from yesterday.
Yeah.
Peyton with the $5 donation. Told you how to get to it. From 5 to 7, 2 years ago, to a 12-1 Big 12 championship on our way out to the SEC and our first CFP spot in our history. Hook 'em horns. Hashtag sweat for Heisman. Hashtag we back.
Well, if only somebody would have picked Texas to make the playoff.
You did that. You had them, too.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah. We believed. We were one of the few
Got a lot of hell for it.
That believed. Listen, it's a great momentum boost going into the SEC, obviously. And then if Quinn does come back, you talk about having even more momentum going into the SEC. It's one thing to have success going to the SEC, maybe have an inexperienced guy or a very talented young guy like an Arch Manning starting at quarterback. It's a totally different thing when you go into the SEC with a guy like Quinn Ewers, who went to Alabama and beat him by double digits earlier in the year. You talk about a confidence boost. Now all of a sudden you're walking in and I don't have Texas 2024 schedule pulled up, but you're walking into some of these road games feeling a whole lot better about yourself with Quinn Ewers back there at quarterback than some new guys. So if you're a Texas fan, you know what? I'm happy for y'all. I've got nothing against Texas. I lived in the state, lived in Fort Worth. I'm happy for y'all. I want Texas to be good in the SEC because it'll make college football even better. Yeah, I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see Texas.
This is Texas' schedule for 2024. You got Colorado State week 1. You go to Michigan week 2.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. UTSA week 3, ULM week 4, then Bulldogs week 5. You go to Arkansas. You go to A&M. You have Oklahoma at home. Florida.
You say Georgia?
Yeah, Georgia at home.
Oklahoma will be neutral site, probably.
Neutral site, excuse me. You go to the Razorbacks. You go to Cal Field. You have Oklahoma. You have Florida Gators at home, Kentucky at home, State at home, and you're going to the fighting, expectation-filled Vanderbilt Commodores.
So you got Michigan and Georgia next year. Damn. And Oklahoma.
Man, Texas in the big house. I can't wait.
God, I'm super duper excited for that. All right, you ready to get the calls?
Let's do it. All right, got to hit some guys who called in yesterday. I think Gavin in Pennsylvania is on the line. Gavin, how you doing?
How's it going, guys? Fan the Flames. Just wanted to check in and see how your bet on New Mexico State went. And also was the big thing I called in for is I'm just kind of fed up with all the disrespect that Liberty's getting right now from all these SMU folks. They're like, well, you guys should have played somebody, blah, yada, yada, yada. But the reality of it is when you move into a new conference, there was tons of Power 5 teams that were like lining up to get the heck off this schedule.
I don't blame them. I wouldn't schedule y'all's ass either.
So, so I'm just tired of hearing it because it's like, we all didn't play anybody. Why don't y'all schedule somebody? Well, we did. Yeah. Like, look at our last 3 years, like our schedule. We had Arkansas, Wake Forest, you had Syracuse a couple times, you had Virginia Tech, you had Virginia before that. I mean, I just don't get what else they want us to do. I mean,
well, now you got a shot. You can shock the world now.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Tulane did to USC last year. It's going to be tough against Oregon. I'll say this about Liberty. To me, Liberty has the capability, a very easy capability, to be a Power 5 school. You look at the amount of money that place has. You look at the campus, you look at the investment that they've made. Hell, they paid Jamie Chadwell $4 million a year to be the head coach, basically. Liberty's scary. I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm at a Power 5, I'm not scheduling y'all, especially with conference reduction is what I call it. I'm in the SEC. Wait, we're adding Texas and Oklahoma? Yeah, no, not scheduling Liberty. I'll schedule like University of Phoenix, right? We'll get a bunch of insurance.
Hey, I heard they're pretty good this year.
Play. But no, look, Liberty, you got to take your hat off to Jamie Chadwell. It's hard to continue, especially in year one. You know, you see what Hugh Freeze did, but not only that, you go undefeated.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, look, Liberty, you'll get nothing but respect from Liberty.
And that's a great thing about all the crap talking, all the people undervaluing Liberty. You have your chance to prove it.
Yeah.
Against Oregon.
Yeah.
And this is the type of game, you don't even have to win that game. All right. But if you keep that game close through 4 quarters,
respectable.
that is, you will leave there with your head held high and people will respect you more as a football team.
Gavin, my New Mexico State bet did not do well.
Mine either did.
But it was tied in the fourth. I felt really good about the 11.5. They scored 14. Liberty scored 14 unanswered in the fourth.
And New Mexico was up early.
That over was stealing.
Yeah.
It was absolutely stealing.
I guess just going into that, I just felt like there was going to be that point where eventually we were just going to keep hitting on those runs, and it would, it just would accumulate. I guess was my feeling going into that.
Well, like Liberty, again, I think Liberty's more of a downhill team than people give them credit for. Like Liberty leans on you throughout the game. It just looks like it's kind of cuter because there's a lot of lateral movement. You have a lot of RPOs, cadence on the move a lot. But who Liberty is at their core and who Jamie Chadwell is at his core, just like Lane Kiffin, right? Just like Lincoln Riley. He wants to be downhill, run to pass, right? Make you load the box and then take advantage of those angles off bluffs and sprint outs and things like that. It's a beautiful offense. It's fun to watch. Willie Fritz, who just left Tulane to go to Houston, when he was at Georgia Southern, there's a lot of similarities I see with what Jamie Chadwell does to what Willie Fritz did when he was at Georgia Southern, and it works. It's tough.
Appreciate it, Gavin.
Appreciate it,
Thanks
Gav.
so much, man. All right, let's go to Steve in Ohio. Steve called in yesterday as well. Steve, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey,
What's up, man?
What's up, Steve?
I got one thing for the college football playoff committee before I get to my trivia.
Okay.
What is it?
All right, college football playoff committee. What you've just done is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever seen.
You tell him, Steve.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent selections were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Yeah.
Every college football fan is now dumber for having witnessed it.
Well done.
I award you no points, and may
God have mercy on your
Steve, I wonder if this energy would be the same if it was Ohio State in the 4th spot and not Alabama.
Steve?
It still would have been because I didn't think Ohio State deserved to be there.
Wow.
Look,
see
Steve
that?
will shoot you straight.
Rational fans from rational fan base.
All right, Steve, what do we got today?
All right, you guys know the rules. I don't have to explain them. Just pick the stat that applies to all 3 players.
Okay.
All right, today we'll be covering career stats for 3 of the greatest college running backs of all time.
Okay.
And once again, we're going with 1 from Auburn, 1 from Ohio State, and 1 from Michigan.
All right.
Just like the tailgate. Today we're doing Bo Jackson,
Okay.
Blake Corum, and Eddie George.
Stop using electronic devices, Wayne.
I have to get in the chat.
Okay.
This is what I do.
Blake Corum, Eddie George,
All right.
and Bo Jackson.
The stats are at least 55 rushing touchdowns,
55.
at least 650 rushing attempts, at least 60 receptions, and at least 5.5 yards per carry. Now, who did what?
Or I think Blake just had his 55th touchdown
Okay.
at Michigan. I think that's what.
I don't think Bo scored 55 touchdowns.
Okay. So let's say touchdowns, Blake Corum.
Yep.
How many seasons did Bo Jackson play at Auburn?
He played 80.
4.
Played 1.
He played all 4?
He played he started as a freshman. He played 3.
3.
3. What was the so 650 carries?
Yes, 650 rushing attempts.
Okay.
That's what I'm going with.
For all of them? All of them had that?
Yeah.
And then what was the third stat?
It was yards per carry.
That was
At
the last
least
one.
60 receptions.
60 receptions. Blake's not.
No one threw it to the
You
back.
said 5.5 yards per carry?
Yeah, that's too much.
5.5, yes.
I think it's the I think it's what you said.
The rushing attempts? I'm going
Rushing
650.
attempts
Yeah.
for all of them. Corum TDs. Yeah, okay. Let's go with rushing attempts.
All right, I'm willing to give you a clue if you want.
Yes,
if you
yes.
wanna.
Yeah.
Yes.
Blue.
All right, pick one of the players, and I'll give you the stat that applies to him.
How about Eddie George?
Okay, Eddie George was the at least 60 receptions.
Okay, that's what we thought.
Yeah.
Blake Corum's going to be touchdowns.
Blake Corum will be touchdowns. Bo would probably be yards per carry.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of them on the
all of them are
all of them
yeah.
on the
Rich rushing attempts. Go rushing attempts.
All right. The correct answer is at least 5.5 yards per carry.
Wow.
Blake's averaging 5.5.
5.5? That's impressive. So who had 650 carries? Blake Corum?
That was Bo.
Yeah.
Bo had that.
Blake would have.
They were just feeding Bo
Blake's
the ball.
averaging 5.5 a pop.
That's impressive, man. Hey, well, let's do it. Let's do it in the
that's
ball
what
game.
you want.
Let's do it in the
That's
ball
a good
game,
one,
B.
man. You
Come
got
on.
it. Nice.
I love it. Thanks, Steve.
Bo had 650. Blake is at 635 currently, and this includes the game on Saturday.
Wait, who had the touchdowns then?
Eddie had 643. Bo was 6.6 yards per carry. Blake is at 5.5, and Eddie George was at 5.6.
Wait, so who had 55 touchdowns?
That was Blake Corum.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he had all.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Thanks, Steve.
That's what I thought. All right, let's go to Jan in Lubbock. Jan, how you doing?
What's up, Jan?
Also, call in now if the line was busy. Jan, what's up?
Hey, boys, it's good to speak to you.
What's up?
I'm glad. Well, a couple of things quickly. No skyhook for the committee. Just let them sit out.
Let them
sit
sit
out. No, they don't deserve, and they
It's
will
the
not
Batman
get Skyhook.
situation, but we knew where we're actually going to save some.
They don't even know the number to call to get Skyhook.
Right, yeah, exactly. Just keep it a secret number. But also, some quick things, and then I need Jake, if you don't mind, to do an inspirational talk for us.
Okay.
We have, of course, congratulations to Tech. Terrible seasons, but we made it to a bowl game.
Mm-hmm.
And then I want to know, Dave, let Dave know that I'm going to be a big Michigan fan, at least for one game this year.
Yes.
And,
Love it, Jan.
And then why I'm calling is the National Rodeo Finals begin this week in Las Vegas, December the 7th through December the 16th. And Berkeley Waters, age 11, one of our family members who rides a horse called Patriot, has made it to the Junior National Rodeo Finals in barrel racing.
That's awesome.
Jake, it's fantastic. And Jake, since your wife is a good horsewoman, I think you need to give Berkeley a good inspirational speech because she's just top notch. And I mean, she is fearless.
And Blaine's in that too. Blaine's in the rodeo finals too.
Is he?
I don't know what his horse's name is.
Yeah, it's named Blaine.
All right. So Berkeley is in the barrel racing.
What a pretty name.
The championships.
Yes, barrel racing.
Okay.
She's in the finals at the National Rodeo competition, which takes place in Las Vegas starting this week. So
she's 11.
She's 11 years old.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right.
And her horse is Patriot.
Horses Patriot. All right. Have you seen Lady Ballers yet, Jan?
Oh, listen, I've seen it, and I am dying to show it to every friend I have.
Yes.
I knew you'd
Love
get
that,
a kick out of
Jan.
it.
And you know what I really want? I want to get a ringtone that says Badger.
Yeah, you should.
We can get that. Or we just have Cone follow you around.
$5.99. You can
just say it. Yeah. Get him on Cameo. But all right. I got you, Jan. Let's play it. Moments in your life. Even as an 11-year-old, there's big ones. And boy, is there a big one coming up in Vegas. The barrel races. You own more barrels than Donkey Kong, Berkeley. There's a reason your last name is Waters, because championships just flow through you.
Okay.
Just perfect. I don't care if it's the rodeo. I don't care if it's goat roping, whatever it is. You're going to dominate because it's who you are. You're in the championship, but you're already a champion. Don't go out there and try and do too much. Don't go out there and try and do too little. You got to keep it one thing. Yeah. And I want you to remember this. Get it. So Berkeley, good luck to you. Last time we went out to Vegas, we watched grown men slap each other.
Yeah.
And in the cool way. But now, go get that ring. We believe in you. Let's go, Berkeley. Let's go, Berkeley.
Let's go, Berkeley.
Berkeley, remember, winners
Are just
losers
who win. That's exactly right. Great call,
Take that
Jan.
with you.
Yeah.
You take that with
And you know what Berkeley's going to put on this weekend?
Huh.
A masterclass.
Yeah.
All right, masterclass happens to be one of our sponsors. And y'all know we love our sponsors. especially one that can help you become the greatest of all time. What is Masterclass? Well, it is what it says. It's an online platform that offers classes taught by well-known experts and celebrities in various fields. They cover topics like cooking, music, writing, filmmaking, business, photography, and more. You've watched my wife's watched the cooking one too.
The cooking, writing,
absolutely loves
directing.
it. From leaders in the industry, and they have a new class with Kevin Hart. He teaches you how to use humor as a tool for success. All right, because he's not going to teach you how to be tall. We know Kevin can't do that, but he will teach you how to use humor as a tool for success.
Kevin doesn't see that.
And if you can find laughter everywhere,
He'll kick you right in the shin.
You can be confident anywhere. I'm telling you, this is it's a great gift too. Again, we listed all, cooking, music, writing, filmmaking, business, photography. And then Kevin Hart's leading one on humor. He's one of the top guys in the industry, does a really good job. And this holiday season, you can give one annual membership and get one free at masterclass.com/crane. That's masterclass.com/CRAIN. That's 2 memberships for the price of one at masterclass.com/crane. Masterclass.com/crane. Offer terms apply. Crane spelled CRAIN, not like that stupid bird.
I love it. What a great sponsor, man. I've loved Masterclass. All right, we got Trey on the line in Atlanta. Trey, why don't you put on a Masterclass with this call, buddy?
Try.
Yeah. So real quickly, I want to talk about the playoff, but I would be amiss if I can't rag on the Dogs a little bit. So listen, gentlemen, we let you out of the house for a few years. You went, you had a good time. It was funny. It was good times. But it's time to come home. It's time to put on your nice clothes, get in the kitchen, get barefoot, and make Daddy a sandwich. I like it.
Wow. You make Daddy a sandwich.
Your run's over. You're irrelevant. You're going to be like Clemson. So those are the good times. Enjoy them. Moving on.
Wow, Trey coming in.
Trey just called y'all Dabo Sweeney.
Dang. He said, make me a sandwich.
Y'all just out there running down hills.
Toasted with mayo?
God. Where's the remote
without mayo. I don't like mayo.
Oh, without mayo?
Oh, sorry, I got it.
Yeah, you put mayo on it, you can catch his hand.
You don't like mayo. What's your problem, dog?
So anyways, I agree with. I hate to say this, I agree with all parties when it comes to the playoff. Being an Alabama fan, I of course like the fact that they're in, but I think I can look at it somewhat objectively. I understand what you're saying. The regular season matters, and it does, but it can't be the. I don't want to say it's not the only thing, but like going undefeated can't be the only metric that people use. Correct? Like there are a bunch of
Well, it depends. I think it depends on if you're a Power 5 or Group of 5, right? Like to me, what else can matter other than the regular season? Like what else is there? Is there something I'm missing?
I understand what you're saying, but there are metrics that you can look at to evaluate a season, right? You can look at someone's strength of schedule. You can look at their efficiency. You can look at how their total offense, total defense, the efficiency on those things, their special teams. There's a ton of things you can look at, and when you look at a lot of these things, like Alabama is just better than FSU in a lot of those areas.
And you know what, Trey? If everything was even, if both of these teams were 12-1, I would agree with you 100%. But we are not comparing even outcomes. We're not doing that. We're comparing outcomes where one team is undefeated in a Power 5 conference that has a winning record in the same year where they got left out for a team from another conference that they had a winning record against. If everything is even, I agree with you, but everything's not even.
But we wouldn't be having this conversation if their starting quarterback had not gone down and they hadn't looked inept on offense. Like everyone wants to go down back to this Cardell Jones or whatever his name was.
What about when Bama looked inept on offense earlier in the year? What about? Do we not take that into account?
Well, if it was happening right now, absolutely. But it's
the beginning of the season doesn't matter.
Well, I think a lot of it
does matter.
And we talked about it yesterday. It's the weighing of each criteria, right? How much does each criteria matter, right? You can have all these things.
With that, I agree.
Well, but if it's one thing just outweighs everything else, and I think this all comes down to Jordan Travis getting hurt.
Yeah, but shouldn't that be a tiebreaker? Like, that's how I always thought about it when it came to the key players, where if both teams are undefeated or both teams have one loss or both teams won their conference or both teams lost their conference or both teams are similar in the eye test, then the next thing is, do you have a key player out? Like, they've moved that to the very front. And I think a month from now, Trey, all of us are college football is going to be happier that Alabama is playing Michigan rather than Florida State, even with the backup quarterback who's going to come back. I mean, I don't really want to talk about the ACC championship game. That was a third-string quarterback. The backup Tate Rodemaker is going to come back for that. Now, is he Jordan Travis? No, he's not. So I think that the committee sort of did what they felt like they had to do, but I just don't want to hear from Alabama fans who just gloss over the fact that an undefeated Florida State team's getting left out of the playoff. This isn't Cincinnati we're talking about. Like, Florida State's one of the best brands in college football. They went undefeated, and it's not like they played a super weak out-of-conference schedule and then an ACC schedule. They went out of their way to schedule LSU in the opener. That was the best game in week 1, and they beat them worse than Alabama did. I get it that the team changed after the quarterback injury. If I was an Alabama fan, what I would say to the world is, hey, we feel bad for Florida State. They're an unbelievable team. We want Jordan Travis to go to the NFL, be the best player he possibly can be. We're just grateful to be in that 4th spot. The only thing we can do now is move forward and try and win the national championship and prove to people that we deserve to be there.
And I don't blame Bama. Nobody's blaming Bama.
Right, but and the thing is, as I said, I try to be objective. I've been beating my chest about this for years. I mean, you guys, I've only known you guys for a year or two, a few years, but I've been saying this from the jump. Like, the best teams, like that's the whole point. They keep using the word the best teams, and I felt the best teams should get it, and that has not been the case. There have been teams that have been lit in that have gotten ran through, and I know that in years past there's only 1 or 2 teams that really had a chance to win. But you could look at other teams and say that team was much better, and there was no reason they should have been left out because they went undefeated. They looked nicer. This team lost in week 2 against a nobody team, but they got better, and we can objectively see that team got better. There have been many instances of that throughout the 10 years of the playoffs, and this is really a second year because they did to Alabama in 2017, whatever year they ended up winning it, where they left Ohio State out and put Alabama in, and it was objectively the right decision. And they won it that year, right? So
it was subjectively the right decision.
I think the term best, like, everybody's acting like everybody agrees.
But everybody told me a week ago that Oregon is objectively better than Washington. Yeah. There's no doubt in the world they would win a rematch if given the opportunity in the Pac-12 championship game. Everyone said that. The committee thought that. And that's not what happened. They were 10-point favorites. Washington beat them for a second time this year. That's what happens sometimes.
Well, I'm just glad we're going to a real playoff.
And I don't blame you. I don't blame you, Trey. You should be excited. You should be excited.
I mean, the real question, if the roles were reversed, right, does Alabama get in still?
Hell,
if they're Florida State, if they're undefeated, I don't care if their entire team got in a bus crash. They would save that spot for Alabama
exactly
as
right.
a commemorative
That's what makes it hypocritical.
That's the worst part about it.
That's the thing. If the roles were reversed, no way in hell they're keeping out Nick Saban and Alabama.
But the thing is, I think Alabama will probably just move forward and win the championship.
Oh, what's going to happen now.
It'll be over. Yeah.
But for sure, Bama's going to win.
Yeah,
that really wasn't what most people were arguing.
And you know what? And it'll still, in my opinion, be the wrong decision. If Alabama wins.
Hey, you know what? Hey, real quick, you better let Ace wear the Alabama gear, okay? You can't just put him in.
The house has already been divided. He's in Michigan gear. Sounds like Ava's going to be.
It's fallen on gender lines, right?
That's what I've heard.
The men are wearing Michigan. The women are going Bama.
All over.
Yeah. I do not want to be in your house. They should be like a radioactive sign outside of David's house for the next month.
It's going to be fun.
Thanks, Trey.
Great call, Trey. Glad you got in here, man.
Thanks, man. All right, let's go to Josh in North Carolina. Josh, what's up?
Hey, guys, what's up?
What's up, dude?
Y'all are going to make me do it, aren't you?
Oh, God.
Maybe.
Put the gun down.
Don't. I can't believe I'm saying this. I've gave this a lot of thought, and I think the committee got it right because, well, let me start it off with this. They have for years gotten it wrong, and they've always said it's the 4 best teams. And then every year they put in, like a Cincinnati or like some weird team, right? And then this year, I think they finally followed what they said. And let me just start off with this. If Alabama beat any other team that wasn't back-to-back national champions and I think they were 29 or 30-0, I feel like they would have put Florida State in. But because they beat the number 1 team in the nation, who has won back-to-back national championships, and they had a better strength of schedule, I just think all of those factors played into account other than...
Whoa. I thought we weren't supposed to factor in what happened the year before.
Yeah.
I thought we weren't supposed to do that.
So why not put Georgia in, though? This is what I keep hearing about. It's like, well, the committee's supposed to put the 4 best teams in. So
why is Washington
right? So Georgia, to your point, if we're going to count Georgia winning 29 straight games and being back-to-back champions, and then Georgia loses by 3 in the SEC championship game to Nick Saban, they're not one of the 4 best teams? Like, why isn't Alabama and Georgia both in if the committee got it right? That's what I want to know.
Here's my thought on this, too. I think no matter what it was, since this is a 4-team playoff with 5 Power 5 conferences, the committee was going to screw themselves one way or the other. And I truly believe Georgia was also another number 4 team, but they already knew they were going to get so much.
Then they didn't get it right, though, Josh. You can't start by saying they got it right, but then you say that Georgia's – yeah, if the only thing the committee is supposed to do is put the 4 best teams in, and you're saying that Georgia was one of the 4 best teams in, and they didn't put them in, then you can't lead off by saying they got it right by just putting Alabama over Florida State.
Go ahead, Josh.
Go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say I would be willing to bet that if Oregon played Washington for a 3rd time on a neutral field, Oregon would be favored. So why is Oregon not in, even though they lost twice, to Washington?
Right.
I mean, Ohio State.
Right.
Here's a better one. How in the hell is Florida State at 5?
That's where they messed up.
Like, how is Florida State at 5?
They really told you. They told everybody they don't know what they're doing.
They should have got Florida to
6 and 7.
7 or 8. Realistically,
down with Ole Miss, Missouri.
Here's what you should have done.
State, that level.
Here's what you should have done. After the Florida game, you should have dropped Florida State then.
See,
that's when you should have dropped them. But you didn't do that because it's a TV show.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you didn't do it.
Right.
It's a reality TV show.
Yeah.
They ought to put it on Telemundo and just let people walk in and act surprised at the situation for 3 hours.
Right. I'm just glad we're going to a 12-team playoff.
Me too.
It didn't matter what they did. It was going to piss anybody off.
I just don't know why we can't have an emergency 6-man play.
Yeah, who's going to stop you?
Why not?
6-man.
Like who? Why not? We're creating invisibility.
Well, what the thing is, who's going to be pissed? Is anybody going to be pissed?
I mean, if it's about money, about ratings,
it's a victimless crime.
I love it. All right, appreciate it, Josh.
I will say the head of the committee. This is my last thing. The head of the committee was an NC State alum, and the ACC voted against expanding to 12 teams before 2024.
ACC, I know you're using that as a flex for the SEC still getting in. I still see that as problematic. Why are commissioners or athletic directors on the committee?
Yeah.
Why are athletic directors at university deciding which teams go in?
Yeah.
That's a problem, first of all.
I don't know.
And if it had gone the other way, guess what? Alabama and the SEC would have been using that argument against them, saying, well, most of the committee was made up of ACC.
Corruption.
So it didn't matter. It becomes a non-falsifiable thesis. It's an absolute joke. It's broken. It can be fixed, though. Put us in charge. Thanks, Josh.
All right, we have Ted Cruz coming on here in 1 second. Quickly, just to the chat for a couple of
Let's go to Lee Thompson with a $20 donation. Lee, appreciate it, brother. Who's the new Cincinnati out of the 4 teams, and who's going to get exposed in the playoff game?
Who's the new Cincinnati? I don't think there is one, because there's not a undefeated group of 5 team, even though that Cincinnati schedule was not a walk in the park. Remember, they played Notre Dame. They had some good wins in that schedule. Who is the weakest team in the playoff? You've got to say, is it Washington,
Michigan.
Texas, or Bama?
Michigan's the new Michigan in the playoff.
I would say Alabama, you're the 4th seed.
You would say Alabama, you're the 4th seed? I would say Washington. I would say Washington as the 2.
Let's go to SGR with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, brother. Where the committee got it wrong was not forcing Alabama and FSU to play a runoff game for 4th place. There's plenty of time.
Flint, Michigan Mega Bowl?
Yeah.
Flint?
We have a whole month.
For 4th place?
We have a whole month.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What a missed opportunity.
Y'all talking about making money.
What a missed the true Flint, Michigan Mega Bowl for 4th place.
See who gets the
damn
the NBA.
Let's go to Jake Kennedy with a $5 donation from yesterday. Jake, don't forget about me getting to your donation today, because you did remind me 8 times yesterday. The committee had to split hairs and mind the right call. President didn't have any bearing with it being the last of the 4-team playoff.
That was my whole point. The 4 teams gone now. If you were going to pull the chute, that's why I thought if there was one conference that would get screwed, it would be the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
Because what are they going to do? Show up next year? What's Washington State and Oregon State just going to come up, beat on your door, and be like, I'm going to kick your ass? That's not going to work. The committee said, we're going to 12. Listen, y'all can get upset about, who the 11th or 12th team is, but that's not going to be an undefeated Power 5 conference champion.
So Jeff Foxworthy texted me yesterday, and he said, man, everybody's upset about Florida State not getting in. How about the Georgia Bulldogs? I mean, we won 29 straight games, back-to-back championships, and we can't. And
they're not one of the best teams?
And we're not one of the 4 best teams. And I said, man, it's a crazy situation, blah, blah, blah. I said, man, do you think Michigan can beat Alabama after you watch them this week? He said, yeah, for sure. Y'all already have their signs.
And there's your sign.
And there's a professional comedian.
That is.
Jeff, y'all need to feel something again, dude. Let's be honest.
Y'all need some pain.
Yeah, let's go to Binks Majinks with the $50.
Whoa.
No, throwing a bag out here, baby.
Hold on, 50.
Hold
I think
on.
I might just retire.
Bing Bing says, just want to commend you gentlemen for your excellent work with Lady Ballers.
Thank you.
Trying to find everyone's cameo. Was PJ one of the models used for the Crane & Co. auto sales commercial? Thought it might be the one on crutches, but not sure.
Was that
PJ,
you?
was that you out there smoking cigs
that
on
you?
crutches?
Well, that's a hot
never
little
tell.
mommy.
I'll never
He said he was stirring the pot. He saw me.
PJ is the one of the girls who's crying next to Clay Travis. She's actually the
It
one
moved me.
that
It moved me emotionally.
Did she do the tip-off with you? Was it just
Yeah. Hey.
Never stood a chance.
Let's go to Maria Angel with the $10 donation. Maria, thank you. If FSU's fans want to be mad at anyone, it should be Michigan. They're involved in a big cheating scandal that they've been going time after time in the playoffs and not even make it to the.
Is this Peter Burns?
I heard Stephen A. Smith say
Peter
that.
Burns?
I saw Stephen A. Smith make the same point. It's like, I agree. Like, Michigan cheated so egregiously that the NCAA can't even be bothered to issue an official statement of wrongdoing.
Yeah, well, here's the thing.
Just
You can't suspend
unbelievable.
our head coach and then talk about, we didn't pay a price.
Golly, it's just so,
Well, here's my thing, Maria. You know who Florida State fans should be mad at? It's not Michigan.
It's Auburn.
It's not Alabama. It's Auburn.
Yep.
Auburn cost Florida State a spot in the playoff. Let's just be honest. Because you can't stop somebody on 4th and goal from the 31. Never forget.
Well, let's be real honest, then I think maybe we'll still put Alabama in.
No, they wouldn't.
Like, how do you? Okay. Or let me say this then. Or Georgia after losing the conference championship with one loss. Actually, that's what's
real
more likely.
question to ask.
If Alabama loses to Auburn in the Iron Bowl, has their second loss,
And
then
beats
Georgia, wins the SEC, they would have put Texas at 3 still. Or, you know what, at that point, since they only had to put Texas in because they had beaten Alabama. At that point, maybe they do leave Florida State in at 3 and put Georgia in with one loss at 4.
Yeah.
That's probably what would have happened.
Yep.
Texas
Texas
got so lucky that they had that head-to-head earlier in the year.
Yeah.
For sure. Smart scheduling.
Let's go to Ryan with the $5 donation. Ryan, thank you. Going back to the rankings, I think another reason FSU got robbed is so we don't have to watch Alabama versus Georgia rematch that isn't for the title.
I don't think it's that deep. I think it is legitimately on its face a ratings move. That's what I think it is. That's what I think it is. But the part that upsets me is that everybody glosses over the fact that TCU beat Michigan in the first round of the college football playoff last year. They conveniently look at Georgia destroying TCU. That 65 number was, if that game was 35-7, I don't think you'd see nearly the backlash that you saw. But that 65 number and the way it was, do you remember how bad that beating was? We live streamed it. We made oodles
We were
of
live
money
betting every drive.
I mean, Blaine tripled his 401k in one night just betting Georgia.
It was a big night for you.
Yeah, it was a great night for me, going to be honest. Let's go to JT Brown. Speaking of great nights, $10 donation. JT, thank you.
JT, hope you.
Them getting blown out is unbelievable. Are we forgetting what Clemson did to them in their last natty appearance? I hope Michigan dominates. At this point, I just want to see the college football playoff burn.
That's what happens if Michigan. We can play hypothetical. We got a month. Okay. What if Michigan blows out Alabama? And what if it's ugly?
Talk to me, Jake.
What if it's ugly? I'm gonna be hell on this Bird app. Y'all get ready for that. And I hope it's a great game.
I just don't think it
listen.
will
As
be.
much as we're talking about Florida State got robbed, I am thrilled to watch Bama versus Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
I will not be crying in my hands while that game is going on. I think it's a better matchup for Bama. To be honest with you, I think Michigan is a better matchup for Bama than Texas or Washington.
Okay, so I think. So what you're saying is, if you're Alabama, you'd rather play Michigan than play Texas?
Yes.
Okay, I see what you're saying. See, I think if you're Michigan, you never want to play Alabama. You never want to play.
Get them out of the way,
but
though.
you'd probably rather play them than Texas, though, with Steve Sarkisian and Quinn Ewers, the way they doubt these up. Plus, they won by 10 at Alabama already.
That's a good debate. We can have that debate.
But I just think it's going to be a defensive battle, man. I think Jesse Minter, the DC for Michigan, going up against Nick Saban's defensive mind at Alabama, it's going to be.
I'm just so interested to see the offensive line, Michigan defensive line battle.
Yep, it's going to be interesting. But a guy that's great at debating, one of the best in the world at it, our co-star on Lady Ballers. He's an author, and I'm going to tell you this: the man's got a sneaky jumper.
Oh, it's not
got a very sneaky
public
jumper. Senator Ted Cruz from the great state of Texas. Senator, thanks for joining us, man.
Gentlemen, you're looking good, and I'm shocked not to see you in drag.
Oh, I know. Well, listen, I put the bow on immediately.
That's on Thursdays.
Yeah, that's on Thursdays. You caught us a couple days earlier, but I put it on immediately when I leave the office. But, Senator, we had a great time, obviously, with on the Lady Baller set with you. We really appreciate you coming in. The cameo is hilarious that you have. And I want to start there. Obviously, you have a book out. We want to get to that. It's fantastic. But you're part of obviously the branch of our government that looks at these laws, that's able to have an effect, that's able to argue in front of people. And when I look at this men and women's sports issue, to me, it's a 99% issue. To me, Senator, and I know everything is political in our world today, but this is about as political as me turning on my blinker to change lanes. It's about as political as me looking both ways before I cross the street. It's a safety issue. So my question to you is, how long until this nonsense is completely gone, or will it ever be completely gone?
Well, I actually think one of the keys to turning it around is what you guys are doing with Lady Ballers. I think culture is fundamental. And listen, you're right that any normal person knows that the idea of boys playing in girls' sports or men playing in women's sports, it's fundamentally unfair. If you're competing in powerlifting or swimming or running or basketball, it's not. There is a reason we have the WNBA. I mean, any wild-eyed leftist, just ask them, why does the WNBA exist? Why don't we just tell women, hey, have at it, go compete against LeBron James, let's see how that works out. There's an entire league because we recognize there are physiological differences between men and women. And from the dawn of history, people have understood that it is only in this sort of weird, fake world where everything is politics that people are pretending they can't tell the difference. And I think one of the critical pieces, you mentioned my new book. So I have a brand new book that just came out.
Yep.
It's called Unwoke, How to Defeat Cultural Marxism in America. And it's on exactly this topic. And one of the key chapters is on entertainment. And listen, entertainment is pernicious. It is pervasive. It is everywhere. And Lady Ballers is funny, but it makes the point that everyone knows is true. And I think that's an important part of how you fight back against political nonsense is with humor and with truth.
Yeah, and Unwoke, How to Defeat Cultural Marxism in America, it's on sale now. Go check this out.
Can't wait.
Especially if you like Lady Ballers, you're going to love the messaging in this as well. And Senator, before I kick it over to my 6'7" friend to my left, I do got to admit, I know you're a basketball fan. You're a lover of basketball. I've seen you play. But the great state of Texas, I know you love all the teams in the state. Houston just got Willie Fritz from Tulane, a great hire there. Coach McGuire at Texas Tech is doing a fantastic job. They're going to turn it around this next year. A&M just hired a new coach in Mike Elko.
Yeah.
But the Texas Longhorns in the college football playoff, I mean, how you feeling against Washington? We could end up getting a Bama-Texas rematch, but I know you want to give a shout-out to Coach Sark and the Longhorns for making the playoff.
Yeah, listen, I think it's fantastic. I think the Longhorns are going to go all the way. We got to beat Washington first, and then I'm indifferent whether it's Michigan or Alabama. Although you're right, a rematch with Alabama would be particularly rich. You know, the Longhorns going to Tuscaloosa and beating Alabama at home, that was a powerful win. And listen, I think these Longhorns can go all the way, and I'm going to be enthusiastically cheering every minute of it.
What does Ted Cruz and Steve Sarkisian have in common?
Talk to me.
They both dominate Washington. You're up there.
Wow, look
write
at
that one down.
Hey, he'll be here all week.
Write that
all week. Senator, I want to continue talking about college athletics here. I was fortunate enough to play college football. While some aspects of it seemed problematic when I was there, not being able to sign an autograph for money or sign some sort of NIL deal while other regular students could, I never felt exploited, right? I got a scholarship and I was happy to do so. And if I was good enough to go to the NFL level, then, you can make that. Now we've seen things in college athletics where you have this name, image, and likeness deal basically being used as a collective where schools can pay for play, right? And that's just one thing that's going on. The transfer portal is wide open now. You know, I have a theory here that the NCAA, after losing that O'Bannon case, basically just let college athletics and college football in particular go off the rails as far as possible so that they could get Congress to act. Does my theory hold water there? And if so, should Congress be getting involved in college athletics? And if so, what are the solutions to these problems?
Yeah, well, look, I'm not sure they did it deliberately. I think and they would say they were dragged into it by the litigation. But I think the outcome is unquestionably what you said. Right now, college athletics is a mess, and absolutely I think Congress should act. So I am the ranking member on the Senate Committee of Commerce, Science, and Transportation. And the Commerce Committee has jurisdiction over about 40% of the U.S. economy, including all of sports. And so the ranking member means I'm the senior Republican on the Commerce Committee. And it is the Commerce Committee that has jurisdiction over NIL. I have introduced legislation for Congress to address this and to step in because I've spent the past year really meeting with universities in Texas, meeting with conferences, meeting with the NCAA, meeting with stakeholders, and trying to really listen to best ideas. And the legislation I've filed, I think Congress needs to act, and the legislation I've filed empowers the NCAA to make rules that are reasonable rules that allow for real competition. No one wants to see a handful of super rich schools sucking up all the talent and competition disappearing across the board. Also, no one wants to see Congress step in a way that hurts smaller schools, that hurts Division II and hurts Division III schools, or that hurts non-revenue sports. It's easy to talk about football and basketball. They're the powerhouses, but there are a lot of other sports that are providing avenues for young women, young men to go to college, to get an education. They're never going to earn a living as a professional athlete, but college sports is a pipeline for opportunity for thousands and thousands of young people. And so I think it's important that we protect name, image, and likeness rights. I think it is an improvement that student athletes can earn real revenue. They've worked incredibly hard.
Sure.
And when you have talents that can generate millions and millions of dollars for the school you're playing for, I think it's only right that you enjoy some of the fruits of your labor.
Sure.
But we want it in a way that student athletes aren't exploited and that the system can survive and be stronger.
Sure. This is America. If you have a skill set that can be compensated, everyone should get behind that. Quickly here, What's the timeline on some legislation like that?
You know, the real question is, are we going to see bipartisan agreement? I've been sitting down and meeting with Democrats, in particular, the key Democrats on this issue are Cory Booker, a Democrat from New Jersey. He played college football at Stanford. He cares a lot about it. Cory and I are friends. We get along well. We're different ideologically, but personally we get along. And then Maria Cantwell, who's a Democrat from Washington State, who's the chairman of the Commerce Committee. And Maria and I work on a lot of issues together. And what is not clear is, are we going to get bipartisan cooperation? If we just divide shirts and skins, it'll never pass because you need 60 votes in the Senate to pass. I'm working to try to see if Democrats are willing to come together. I would say I'm optimistic. I would put the chances of it passing in the next year at about 60-40. I think it's more likely than not, but we've still got some distance to travel.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Well, quickly, I always thought NIL, and I have buddies that work for these collectives. I have friends that do it, and it's a smart business move right now. But in my opinion, I thought NIL was if Bryce Young wants to do a deal with Dr. Pepper, Bryce Young's people and Dr. Pepper's people come together and they make a deal. Mm-hmm. Now we have these collectives that have inserted themselves as the middlemen, which brings in a totally new group of people. I think that's where it kind of went off the rails, in my opinion. But Blaine, go ahead.
Well, Senator Cruz, I know they threw some hard-hitting questions at you. I'm going to throw even harder ones. First, did you ever find those box seats? And two, how did you put up with Michael Knowles for that long?
Well, I will say, I just spent one day on the set, as you guys know. I had 2 whole lines. I had to walk down the stairs and deliver 2 lines, and I managed not to fall down the stairs. And after about the 30th take, not to screw up my 2 simple lines. It was awesome fun. And I got to say, you guys should really be proud. It's a good movie. I love movies.
Thank you.
And it's a good movie. It's funny. It's well done. But it's also, there are sweet and poignant moments. My favorite moment is when Jeremy, y'all's coach and a good friend of mine, is talking to his young daughter, and his young daughter is saying near the end of the movie, I want to be a boy. And he explains to her, he said, look, girls are wonderful. Y'all can do all sorts of things that you're incredibly good and gifted and blessed and wonderful at. And I'm the dad of 2 daughters. That I think is my favorite part of the whole movie, is I laughed the whole time, but it also had a really sweet and real message.
Yeah, I think that's what brought it in totality together. I've had more people message me about, the end, the way it ended. A lot of people were wondering how you end a movie like that. And yeah, it's funny. Yeah, there's slapstick humor. But I think the messaging in the movie is really what makes it, and why we've seen this great success that it's had. And we've been overwhelmed. I still can't believe it.
Absolutely, yeah.
To be honest with you. But Senator Cruz, please tell us about your book one more time where everybody can get it. Yeah. I know it's on sale now. Unwoke. It's fantastic. Please, one more time, tell our audience where they can find it. And just a little synopsis.
Well, sure. The book is called Unwoke: How to Defeat Cultural Marxism in America. And it describes how the radical left has taken over just about every major institution of our country. So every chapter focuses on a different institution. So it starts with universities, which I've called the Wuhan lab of the woke virus. Universities are where it was created, where it mutated, and where it spread. From there, it goes from universities to K through 12 education. It goes to journalism. It goes to government. It goes to big business. It goes to big tech. It goes to entertainment, Hollywood, movies, television, music, sports. It goes to science. And then the last chapter is on China, which I describe as a central nexus that is intertwined with them all. And what the book does is 2 things. Number 1, it explains how and why the radical left succeeded in capturing these institutions. But then number 2, it lays out a clear, practical battle plan for how we take them back. And there are really 3 things I advocate. Number 1, sunlight and transparency. The ideas of the radical left are nuts. Exposing them is a powerful weapon against them. Number 2, changing the cost-benefit analysis to increase the costs of individuals or institutions going woke. And number 3, which you guys are doing, I urge conservatives and libertarians, battle in the arena of ideas, create alternative avenues for transmission of ideas, or go take over existing ones. And I got to say, Lady Ballers is an exact manifestation of what I call for in the book Unwoke, which is produce content and go battle for culture and do it. I talk a lot about late night comedy and how powerful comedy is, and that we've let, late night shows right now are unwatchable.
They're awful.
Instead of making fun of everyone, which is what they should be doing, it's just angry leftists screaming, I hate Donald Trump. Well, no kidding. We figured that out. But can you tell a friggin' joke and not just be an angry puritanical ass? Well,
Colbert used to be funny. I used to lose my mind watching Colbert.
And SNL? I used to watch SNL for years growing up.
SNL was fantastic. By the way, one of my favorite things I ever got to do is I played Jimmy Kimmel one-on-one hoops.
Yeah?
We played for charity. We had a $10,000 wager on the game. We played at TSU, Texas Southern University. 6,000 people came out to watch the game.
Let's go.
I got to tell you, it was terrible, terrible basketball. The ESPN broadcaster said if Dr. Naismith had seen what happened here tonight, he would have invented a different sport. But as bad as it was, I'm glad to tell you I whipped his ass.
Yes, sir, Senator Cruz.
He hates to this day. And he had to cut a check to 2 great charities in Texas.
Well, we're glad we're able to win for charity, and I always laugh. Jimmy Kimmel telling me how bad men are when I watched a show with him and Adam Carolla growing up with girls jumping on trampolines.
Yeah, I remember it well.
The Man Show. Yeah. Right? But Senator Cruz, Unwoke, it's fantastic. Very excited to have you on. It's great to see you at the premiere.
You can get the book on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. Go buy the book. You'll enjoy it.
Definitely. Awesome. Everybody go check that out. I know the Booster Club's going to be all over it. It was great to see you at the premiere. We need to get you back. We need to get you in studio sometime.
I look forward to it. That'd be fun.
Definitely. We'll see.
By the way, what's your prediction? Who wins in football?
Oh man, I picked Michigan at the beginning of the year.
Thank you.
I've got to ride with them. I think Michigan finds a way. I think it's an overtime win in the national championship game against
Texas. You see that Rose Bowl jersey back there?
I'm sorry,
Senator?
guys.
That Michigan Rose Bowl jersey. Well, we got creamed by USC. So let's not repeat that in the college football playoff.
Hey, Texas Longhorns national champion, Senator Cruz.
Oh,
this is the year,
all right,
baby.
I got to say, hook 'em.
This is the year.
I was at the Rose Bowl when Texas beat USC, and I was tragically at the Rose Bowl when we lost lost to Alabama after Colt McCoy got injured. So I think this is our year, and hook 'em horns, we're going all the way.
I love it.
Thanks, Senator Cruz. Appreciate you. All right, great to get Senator Cruz on.
Marcel Dariuson out here this year.
Yeah, I know, right? Everybody go check that book out, Unwoke. It's great stuff, and it's true stuff. I mean, look, let's be honest. But speaking about true, a holiday gift idea that's sure to make you the hero of the season. I'm talking about more heroic than Santa, which is hard to do this time of year. Speaking about selling out in a good way, the Booster Club has sold out Genucel skincare every time we've thrown this bad boy up here. All right, it's for men and women. We use it. Our wives use it. They absolutely love it. If you have wrinkles, fine lines, skin redness, yes, even a sagging jawline, it'll disappear right before your eyes with Genucel's most popular collection. It's Christmas come early. It is a fantastic Christmas gift. I'm telling you, we had the reps for the company down here. They're awesome people. You guys would love them. They're just like us. Go to Genucel.com/booster, GENUCEL.com/booster to get this incredible holiday discount because every order today instantly upgraded to free express shipping. That's Genucel.com/booster. Check it out today. Speaking of booster, let's get to the Booster Club and some donuts, Blaine. Let's get to them.
All right, let's get to these bets real quick before we have to get through. I have to go roll through all these.
Okay. What do you got tonight, David?
I got Kansas minus 26.5 in basketball. That's minus 110. Who are they playing? Well, someone they're going to beat by 27. And then North Carolina plus 5.5 minus 108. Taking on UConn in an interesting one.
Did Bama cover last night?
They won by 24.
No way.
Won by 24, Alabama. I think you're minus 25. Congratulations. I'm not touching you for the rest of the month.
God, this my wife says to me, that to me all the time. Let's see. Give me Tennessee. Give me Tennessee minus 15 at home against George Mason tonight. That's at minus 110. And then you've got a ranked Wisconsin going to an unranked Michigan State. Give me Wisconsin money line plus 185.
Interesting.
All right, this is what I'm taking. Give me Florida Atlantic money line. That's minus 137. They're playing against Illinois. We'll never bet against Florida Atlantic. And then me Wisconsin money line ranked 23rd in the nation.
You're riding with me on that?
Well, yeah, plus 5.5. What'd you get it at?
Oh, you got it at plus 5.5.
No, I'm taking the money line.
Plus 185.
Okay, I got plus 190, so we'll run with the plus.
Yeah, let's take that.
185, guys. I'm trying to pull up. My iPad is frozen, so give me a second to work through this real quick.
You want some donos?
Yes, if you can pull it up.
What all did you get to? You got to that one.
Working. Great.
Lee Thompson, $20 dono. Who is the new Cincinnati before you read that one? Sorry.
I got it. I'm back up, Dave.
Go ahead.
I'm back up. Let's go to Q-Smo Jimbo with a $5 donation. I feel like I'm working at Best Buy right now. Hashtag question for Cruz, but we didn't get to it, so it's a question for you guys. What do you make of FSU threatening legal action against the NCAA and Senator Rick Scott writing a formal inquiry to the college football?
I tell him what Mr. Big said. Take that to trial.
Yeah, it'll never happen. I saw Governor DeSantis came out and said something about
and Rick Scott.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to Horse to Taco with a $2 donation. He says, no rules saying we can't go another hour, fellas. Let's get after it.
That is true. Look, we'll sit right here. Actually, I do got to go on a certain show right after.
Busy day for your boy over there, huh? So to Reed Caskey with a $5 donation. I may have missed this. I just got on, but could Arch Manning be the Ohio State Buckeyes' new quarterback?
So, if there was a system he was going to, that would be the one.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be Jeff Levy in Mississippi State. That pro-style system is what Arch is built for. But I don't think Arch is going to transfer.
I don't either.
The Mannings are different.
They're different. They're calculated.
Yeah, they're very different.
Yeah, you see how big Manning's head is? I mean, who knows how fast his brain works? Let's go to Austin Hatch with a $5 donation. Austin, thank you, brother. Don't agree with leaving FSU out, but if Bama wins the whole thing, will it quiet this entire conversation?
It will. It will have a lot of people saying, see, told you so, but I still don't think it's the right decision.
It'll be quieted even before that when we see, hopefully, a really good Michigan-Alabama game.
And I want that game to be good.
Yeah.
I want that game to be good.
All right, let's go to Well Done with a $10 donation. The committee was never picking FSU. 1, Georgia wins. They pick Texas. 2, Washington loses. They pick Oregon. 3, Texas loses. They pick Ohio State. All roads led for FSU to being left out by the committee.
See, I don't know. The one David brought up earlier, that if Bama would have lost to Auburn and Bama had 2 losses, and that 2-loss team then beat Georgia to give Georgia 1 loss, would they have kept Texas out because you wouldn't have had the head-to-head that would move them ahead of Alabama and put Georgia in at the 4 and let Florida State go to 3? I think Georgia cost Florida State.
Because then the committee could say, hey, we had 3 undefeated Power 5 champions, right? And now we'll take the one, the only 1-loss team is an SEC school.
Yes.
Right? The back-to-back champions, we put Georgia in, you're in, and you don't have to make a distinction between the SEC champ and Texas anymore because the head-to-head's not there.
That's exactly right.
All right, that's all the donations for the day. Chat, really appreciate it. Let's go ahead and get to this poll. Is the transfer portal ruining college football?
Yes. Good poll.
Or no?
I'm going to say they said yes, 53%. I feel like it's tight. I feel like this is right down the middle.
It's not a good thing, but it's not ruining it. I'll say no, 55%.
Yes, 59%.
Wow.
There you go. They weighed in. Got to get this thing fixed.
Well, I wonder how many of those people are like, listen, it's ruining it because there are no guardrails. Like, if you put some guardrails up, I think most people would come over to the side of, okay, we can get along. It's just like with NIL, right? Some people just freak out. Oh, it's whatever. You put some guardrails on it like we were just talking about. I think it would bring more people over. But great job, chat. Fantastic. Make sure if you haven't checked out Lady Ballers, go to Daily Wire Plus. Blowing up. One of the top streamed movies right now in the country. 97% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's been an unbelievable outpouring of support. We appreciate you guys. Live again tomorrow. All right, going to talk about some more bowl games. Y'all are the best. Make sure you check us out live in the morning, 6:30 a.m. I liked going to calls earlier today. That was fun, too. And like the chances of the Lady Ballers playing against the Cowgirls, we're going. Oh!
We actually won that game.
God.
We did.
Yeah.
What a catch. Didn't we?